What if I told you that the heaviness you carry each day is not from what you lack, but from what you refuse to let go? We live in a world that worships addition, more goals, more achievements, more noise. But wisdom tells us otherwise. The fastest road to peace is subtraction. The Stoics knew this. True freedom is not found in piling more, but in removing the invisible chains that suffocate the soul. Today, I invite you to step into a lighter, stronger self, not by chasing, but by releasing. Think about your daily life. The endless comparisons on social media, the clutter that suffocates your desk and your mind, the toxic voices, sometimes from others, sometimes from yourself, that drain your strength. You go to bed heavy. You wake up heavier, carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours. The truth is, life doesn't demand we carry all of this. We chose to, often unconsciously. And the Stoics remind us, it is not what happens outside, but what we allow inside, that defines our peace. Epictetus once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that peace lies within, not in the chaos of the world. Seneca warned that we waste our lives not by living too little, but by clinging to too much. Stoicism is not an ancient relic, it is a living compass. It teaches us how to strip away illusions, how to silence distractions, how to stand calm while the storm rages. This video is not about adding rules, but about remembering timeless truths. In this journey, you will discover 7 Stoic principles that act like a quiet reset button for the soul. Each is a reminder of what to release, not what to chase. You'll learn how to remove toxic influences, how to silence the inner critic, how to free yourself from unnecessary weight. By the end, you won't just understand Stoicism, you will feel it breathing inside you as a living power. This is your invitation to clarity, to strength, to freedom. The only question is, what will you let go of, starting today? Principle 1. Removing toxic people. The first principle is simple, yet brutally difficult. Remove toxic people from your circle. These are not only the openly hostile ones, but the subtle voices that twist your victories into defeats, the friends who mask envy with sarcasm, or the family members who guilt you into betraying yourself. The Stoics warned us, proximity shapes destiny. If you walk among those who live in vice, their smoke will darken your soul. To live lighter, you must choose carefully who walks beside you. Seneca once wrote, "If you live with a companion who is corrupt, you cannot remain innocent." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he would meet arrogance, envy, and deceit, yet he chose not to let their nature pollute his own. Epictetus was blunt. You cannot control other people's character, only whether you allow them into your mind. The wisdom is timeless. What you tolerate shapes who you become. By removing toxic people, you are not acting in hatred, but in self-respect. Imagine a soldier in Rome, standing in the Forum. Around him, crowds jeer, whisper, and mock. At first he tries to endure, believing that strength is tolerance. But over time, their voices seep into his bones, shaping his own self-image. He becomes restless, doubting his worth. Only when he walks away from their circle does he feel the weight lifting. The lesson is clear. Strength without boundaries collapses into exhaustion. Enduring poison does not make you virtuous. Removing it does. Today, toxic people don't always wear armor or shout in forums. They hide in group chats, in boardrooms, even at family dinners. They drain you quietly, forcing you to spend emotional energy defending yourself against their criticism. You cannot heal them, nor fix their wounds. But you can choose distance, you can set boundaries, you can reclaim your peace. Removing them is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Every ounce of energy you save by releasing them can be invested in becoming calmer, stronger, wiser. Principle 2. Endless comparisons. The second principle, release the endless comparisons. In our age of constant visibility, we are bombarded with images of lives shinier, richer, and seemingly better than our own. But comparison is a trap. It steals joy, paralyzes action, and blinds us to what we already have. The Stoics warned, do not measure your worth against what lies outside your control. Your life is not meant to mirror another's. It is a unique path, with its own timing, its own rhythm, its own light. Epictetus warned his students, "If you desire what belongs to another, you will be enslaved." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not envy another's fortune, for you do not know their burdens." These reminders pierce the illusion. What appears as success may carry hidden chains. Stoicism teaches us that peace comes not from chasing more, but from aligning with your own nature. The scoreboard of others is irrelevant. The only race worth running is the one against yourself, day by day. Picture two men in ancient Rome. One gazes endlessly at his neighbor's villa, tormented by envy. The other tends quietly to his modest garden. The first wastes his days longing for what he cannot control. The second finds peace in cultivation, seeing growth each season. Centuries later, nothing has changed. Comparison blinds us to blessings, while gratitude sharpens our vision. When you measure yourself by others, you are always behind. When you measure against your own past, you are always growing. Today, comparison hides in every scroll, every meeting, every glance at someone else's highlight reel. You see their victories, but not their sacrifices, their smiles, but not their scars. And you measure your behind the scenes against their polished cut. The cure is not withdrawal, but focus. Gratitude for what is already in your hands. Discipline to run your own race. Courage to define success by your values, not theirs. When you release endless comparison, freedom begins. Your light no longer dims beside another's. It shines on its own. Principle 3. Clutter and distractions. The third principle is this: clear the clutter, silence the distractions. Clutter is never neutral. It whispers to your mind, reminding you of unfinished tasks, scattering your focus, stealing your peace. A messy desk, endless notifications, dozens of open tabs. These are not small annoyances, they are invisible thieves of clarity. The Stoics insisted that the soul must remain uncluttered. Only then can it act with reason and strength. To live with focus, you must learn to remove the noise. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not let the soul be tied to many things." Seneca taught that the joy of life is found not in more, but in sufficiency. To them, clutter was not just physical, it was spiritual, mental, a scattering of the will. Every unnecessary weight fragments your attention, weakens your presence, and pulls you away from virtue. The reminder is timeless. What you allow to stay in your life either serves your growth or suffocates it. Choose with care. Imagine a Roman scholar buried under piles of scrolls, each unread, each demanding his attention. His mind becomes restless, unable to think deeply, always pulled in fragments. One day, he clears his table, keeping only one scroll. In that silence, his mind breathes again, clarity returns, wisdom flows. The story is not about ancient scrolls, it is about us. When we remove what does not serve, focus returns. Simplicity is not lack, it is power, the power to direct your life with intention. Today, clutter lives not only on our desks, but in our phones, our inboxes, our feeds. Every ping, every scroll fragments our attention, training our minds to scatter instead of focus. The Stoic cure is discipline. Clear your desk, silence unnecessary notifications, practice digital fasting. Each act of removal is not loss, but liberation. You are choosing clarity over chaos, presence over distraction, depth over noise. In a world that fights for your attention, the ability to direct it is the ultimate power. Principle 4. Negative self-talk. The fourth principle: silence negative self-talk. Perhaps the most destructive voice in your life is not the criticism of others, but the quiet whisper inside your own mind. It tells you that you're not enough, that you'll never succeed, that your flaws define you. The Stoics would call this a failure of reason, for you are allowing thoughts, not truth, to govern your soul. To live with strength, you must learn to confront and transform that inner tyrant. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Epictetus echoed the same truth. Disturbance comes not from events, but from the judgments we place upon them. Negative self-talk is nothing more than destructive judgment turned inward. The Stoic wisdom is clear. Guard your thoughts as you would guard your body. Do not allow poison to enter, even if the poison comes from within. Imagine a student whispering to herself, "I am terrible at mathematics." With each repetition, she withdraws effort, ensuring her failure. Years later, she believes the lie as truth, not realizing she built the prison herself. This is how negative self-talk works. It becomes prophecy. In ancient Rome or today, the lesson remains. The words you repeat shape the life you live. If you tell yourself you are weak, you will shrink. If you remind yourself you are capable, you will grow. Today, you must learn to reframe. When the inner voice says, "I can't," add one word, "yet." Replace "I'm unworthy" with "I am growing." Speak to yourself as you would to a friend, with compassion, not cruelty. Practice silence when destructive thoughts appear. Recognize them as passing shadows, not truth. The Stoics remind us, the quality of your thoughts defines the quality of your life. Change your dialogue, and you change your destiny. Principle 5. External validation. The fifth principle: stop chasing external validation. Recognition feels pleasant, but when your worth depends on applause, you become a puppet pulled by strings you cannot control. Today, many live for likes, for praise, for approval. Yet the Stoics warned, to live for the opinions of others is slavery. True strength is measured not by how loudly others cheer, but by how steadily you walk when no one is watching. Epictetus reminded, if you seek approval from others, you will always be their slave. Marcus Aurelius wrote, what is fame? The clapping of hands of people who may not even know themselves. Seneca cautioned that applause is fleeting, never a foundation for peace. Their message is one: external validation is unstable. Build your house not on shifting sand, but on the bedrock of your own values. Picture a Roman senator who lives only for applause in the forum. Each speech wins him thunderous claps, but the moment silence falls, he feels hollow. His peace rises and falls with the crowd's mood. Another senator speaks fewer words, but speaks with integrity. He is steady, untouched by the tides of public opinion. Which man is free? The lesson is timeless. Applause fades, but integrity endures. To anchor yourself in truth is to become unshakable. Today, the chase for validation hides in social media posts, career choices, even relationships. You may impress others, but feel empty inside. The cure is to build internal validation. Ask not, did they approve, but did I live true to my values today? When your compass is virtue, not applause, you cannot be shaken. Praise becomes pleasant but unnecessary. Criticism becomes useful but not defining. And you finally discover the freedom of living by your own truth. Principle 6. Unnecessary commitments. The sixth principle: remove unnecessary commitments. Life is short, yet many of us fill it with obligations that add no meaning. We say yes too quickly to favors, to meetings, to events that drain rather than enrich. Each promise may seem small, but together they weigh heavily, stealing time and clarity. The Stoics reminded us, discipline is not just working hard, it is choosing the right things to work on. Every yes must be guarded, for your time is your life. Seneca wrote, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. He warned that scattering ourselves across meaningless duties is the greatest theft of life. Marcus Aurelius echoed this truth. Align your actions only with what serves virtue. To the Stoics, saying no was not cruelty, but clarity. Each unnecessary commitment avoided is space reclaimed for wisdom, peace, and purpose. Imagine a Roman merchant who says yes to every request, lending money, attending feasts, managing disputes. Soon his days are consumed, his energy scattered. His own trade suffers, his spirit weakens. Then, he learns to decline. At first, people call him selfish. But gradually, he becomes reliable, present, strong, because his energy flows where it matters. The story remains the same today. Scattered effort leads to exhaustion. Focused effort builds strength. Saying no is not rejection, it is wisdom. In modern life, unnecessary commitments hide in endless emails, unneeded meetings, and social obligations you secretly dread. Each one steals precious hours from what truly matters: your growth, your relationships, your purpose. The cure is courage, the courage to say no. Filter every request. Does it align with my values? Does it strengthen me? If not, release it. In truth, every no is also a deeper yes, a yes to peace, to clarity, to a life lived on your own terms. Principle 7, resentment and old grudges. The seventh principle, release resentment and old grudges. Few things weigh heavier on the soul than carrying anger from the past. You think holding on honors the truth of what happened, but in reality, it punishes only you. The Stoics warned, resentment is poison disguised as justice. Each day you cling to it, you chain yourself to the past. Freedom begins not when the wound disappears, but when you choose to stop carrying it. Epictetus taught, if someone wrongs you, it is their character that is harmed, not yours. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Seneca wrote that clinging to anger keeps you bound to another's faults. Their wisdom is clear. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is liberation. To let go is not to excuse, but to reclaim your peace. Picture a Roman citizen insulted in the forum. For years, he replays the words, feeling the wound anew each day. Meanwhile, the offender has long forgotten. Who suffers more? Not the one who spoke, but the one who carried. When he finally chooses to release, the weight falls away like a broken chain. The lesson is timeless. Resentment doesn't imprison your enemy, it imprisons you. To forgive is to free yourself from chains that never belonged to you. Today, grudges hide in the workplace, in families, in friendships long broken. You replay old betrayals as if keeping them alive protects you. But the truth is the opposite. Holding on consumes your energy, clouds your vision, and blocks your joy. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, it means release. When you lay down resentment, you lighten your heart. And in that lightness, you step forward unburdened, free to live fully in the present. We began this journey with 7 Stoic principles, each a reminder not of what to add, but of what to release. Remove toxic people, release endless comparisons, clear clutter, silence the inner critic, abandon the chase for applause, free yourself from unnecessary commitments, and let go of old grudges. Each step is a subtraction, yet together they multiply your peace. The Stoics remind us, the weight of life is rarely in what you lack. It is in what you continue to carry. And you can choose to put it down. Freedom does not come from controlling the storm. It comes from mastering yourself within it. Imagine the clarity of a mind unchained, the strength of a heart unburdened, the courage of a soul that no longer needs applause or vengeance. This is the promise of Stoicism, not cold detachment, but radiant power. You are not powerless. You have the authority to decide what remains and what must go. And when you act with this discipline, you become unshakable. This week, choose one burden to release. Maybe it is a toxic relationship. Maybe it is a grudge you've replayed for years. Maybe it is a simple decluttering of your space or your mind. Write it down. Name it. And then let it go, not with anger, but with clarity. Each act of release is a step into freedom. Do not wait for tomorrow. Begin today. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is your invitation to live lighter, freer, stronger. Remember, the path of Stoicism is not about chasing more. It is about needing less. Every chain you release reveals more of your strength, more of your peace, more of your true self. Carry this wisdom with you, not just today, but every day. And as always, stay steadfast, stay calm, stay free. This is Stoic Miracles, where timeless wisdom meets your modern life.